Hello everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Lottie and today I'm going to be talking you through all of the cat books that are on my TBR. Over the last year I have somehow collected several books about cats, so I thought it would be a really good video idea to talk you through what they are, what they're about, which ones I'm most interested in reading, and then maybe I will do a reading vlog eventually of me reading all or some of the books that I'm going to talk about today. So if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, let me know in the comments. I will make it a possibility in the future. So I have 6 books to talk about today. Most of them are sort of a literary fiction style, which isn't a genre that I read a lot of, but because these books are about cats, I feel like I will enjoy them more so than like a regular standard literary fiction type book. So let's just get on with the books that I'm going to talk about today. First book I've got here is The Dalai Lama's Cat by David Michie, and I think this is about the Dalai Lama's cat, so I'm going to read you the blurb and kind of give my thoughts on the book. How would the Dalai Lama react when presented with a gift of a dead mouse? A malnourished slum kitten is carried back to the beautiful sanctuary by the Dalai Lama himself. Her arresting blue eyes are slowly shown everything in the Buddhist leader's life, timeless wisdom that comes only in the quietest moments between animal and man. You'll follow His Holiness's cat as she rubs up against Hollywood stars, teaches lessons at the feet of Buddhist masters, and learns how a Bodhisattva deals with life in the 21st century, and soon see why a cat has the best vantage point on the fragility and beauty in all humans. The Dalai Lama's Cat is funny and light but contains spiritual lessons that will ignite your curiosity and reflection. This sounds quite interesting, that it's going to be kind of about famous people, but I guess from the perspective of a cat, or with the cat as kind of the center point of all these things that happen to the Dalai Lama. I don't know a lot about Buddhism, but it is kind of a big thing in my family, so I'll be very interested to read a little bit more about Buddhism from this vantage point. I feel like it will also be quite a spiritual book, which I'm a little bit not skeptical of, but I guess I'm just not that into. I don't like reading books with religion in them, whether fiction or non-fiction, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. But because it's a cat, I don't know, I feel like I could enjoy it, and I feel like it could be quite humorous as well because of the way that cats are, and the Dalai Lama is like this big spiritual person who's essentially like the leader of the Buddhist religion. So I feel like it could be quite funny, you know, with that opening line, like how will the Dalai Lama react when a mouse is presented to him, because, you know, cats catch mice. So I feel like it could be quite funny but also kind of very peaceful to read. I don't know, like it would be quite relaxing. I feel like it would make me think a lot as well. I feel like it's going to have a lot of like questions to it. I've also got the audiobook of this on Audible, and I think that has like meditations as a part of the book. So if I do end up reading it, I'll probably do what I do with a lot of books and listen and read to the book at the same time. So it'll be quite interesting to sort of see those meditations, I guess, in it. I don't meditate. I probably should, but I don't meditate. So it'd be quite interesting to like see if I can experience that aspect of the book as well. But yeah, I'm very interested in reading this one. The next one I've got here is The Cat and the City by Nick Bradley. I really like the cover of this one. It's just really colourful, and obviously it's got a calico / tortoiseshell cat on the cover. Torties are one of my favourite kinds of cat. I mean, I love all cats, but my very first cat was a tortie. We've had 3 torties in like my lifetime so far, so I just have a really special place in my heart for tortoiseshell cats, so I'm very interested to see what this one's about. In Tokyo, one of the world's largest megacities, a stray cat is making her way through the back alleys. With each detour, she brushes up against the seemingly disparate lives of the city dwellers, connecting them in unexpected and at times magical ways. But the city is changing, and as it does, it pushes her to the margins, where she chances upon a series of apparent strangers. From a homeless man squatting in an abandoned hotel, to a shut-in hermit afraid to leave his house, to a convenience store worker searching for love. As the cat circles through the sprawling metropolis, she draws these intersecting lives ever closer, enmeshing them together. Enmeshing them forever. So this sounds really interesting as well, where it's about the cat kind of interconnecting the lives of all these people in Tokyo. I'm also really interested in the setting of this. I love books set in Japan. I love Japanese culture in general, but something about Tokyo itself just seems really not magical, but magical, if that makes any sense, because it's like a far off place, you know. I've never been, and it's such an amazing like modern city with loads of historical culture to it as well. One of my favourite games was Persona 5, and that's set in Tokyo, and I just really love the like aesthetic of it all as well, so I'm very excited for the setting of this in particular. I also quite like that it's going to follow several different people with the cat as the centre focus and how she's going to like connect them and I guess bring them together in some format. I really like that as well. Sounds random, but it reminds me a little bit of Sixteen Sid, which is a children's picture book about this cat who lives on the street, and like the 6 people who live on the road all think he's their cat, and he kind of connects their lives ever so slightly. It's obviously a children's picture book, so there's not too much substance to it, but it ever so slightly reminds me of that. It's one of my favourite kids picture books, by the way. I love reading it to the kids at work. I am very excited to see this one, especially because it's set in Tokyo. Oh my gosh, flicking through it, the text in it is really, really tiny. So although it doesn't look like a very long book, it's got really tiny text. So I'm a little bit scared now. I mean, I like to read long books, but when a book has really small text, I get a little bit like, because it's just really hard to read, basically. But I am interested in reading this one and seeing the cat as she goes around Tokyo. So the next few books are all Japanese translated fiction. So I definitely feel like there is a theme with books about cats and Japanese authors. They're like, I have 3 books that are written by Japanese people that are about cats, and I'm sure there are more out there that I haven't discovered yet. I enjoy reading books set in Japan, as I've said. Most of what I read that is translated from Japanese is manga. As you can see, I've got Battle Royale up there as well. That's kind of the only novel so far that I've read that is translated from Japanese, and I did enjoy Battle Royale, but because it is translated, it was a little bit awkward to read just because of the nature of translating something from its native language. I am interested in reading these next few books, but I'm also a little bit nervous because I feel like if the translation's not done very well, it can distract from my enjoyment. So let's find out what these books are. The first one I've got here is the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa. I have heard that this book makes a lot of people cry, so although I'm excited to read it, I'm also nervous because I enjoy reading books that are going to make me sob, but I don't exactly go into a book thinking, yes, I just want a good cry. So let's find out what this book is about. It's not the journey that counts, but who is at your side. Nana is on a road trip, but he is not sure where to. All that matters is that he can sit beside his beloved Satoru in the front of his silver van. Satoru is keen to visit 3 old friends from his youth, though Nana doesn't know why and Satoru won't say. Set against the backdrop of Japan's changing seasons and narrated with a rare gentleness and striking humour, Nana's story explores the wonder and thrill of life's unexpected detours. It is about friendship, solitude, and knowing when to give up and when to take. Above all, it shows how acts of love, both great and small, can transform our lives. Oh my gosh, that sounds so cute. So I'm guessing that Nana is the cat, and obviously they're going on a road trip for Satoru. I'm very interested, especially with the backdrop of changing seasons, so I feel like it's going to span quite a long time period, which is something I really like as well. And obviously it's set in Japan. It feels like it might be quite rural Japan, which, although I've said I love Tokyo, I really love rural settings in Japan as well. Like the Studio Ghibli films, I just love the way that they look, so I definitely feel like if this has got quite a rural setting, that is what I'm going to be picturing, the beautiful artwork from Studio Ghibli films. So I'm very excited to dive into this, even though I definitely think it is going to make me sob. So the next one is If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. That title alone just pulls at my heart. I don't want to think about what would happen if cats disappeared from the world. I love cats. You guys know I've got 6 cats now, and if I didn't have any of them, my life would be very empty. I love them so much, so if cats disappeared from the world, I would be very sad. Also, the cat on the cover of this book looks just like my child's, Hercules, or Herbert, as we started calling him. So yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna love this if it's about this kitten who's just gonna make me think of my cat Hercules, who is, I can't really show him to you, but he's like asleep on my bed behind where I've got the camera at the moment. So he's so cute. He's like all tucked in, his face planting the bed. He's so cute. Let's see what this book is about. This young man's days are numbered. Estranged from his family, living alone with just his cat Cabbage for company, he is unprepared for the doctor's diagnosis that he has only months to live. But before he can set about tackling his bucket list, the devil appears with a special offer. In exchange for making one thing in the world disappear, he can have 1 extra day of life. And so begins a very bizarre week. Because how do you decide what makes life worth living? How do you separate out what you can do without from what you hold dear? In dealing with the devil, our narrator will take himself and his beloved cat to the brink. If cats disappeared from the world is a beautifully moving tale of loss, of reconciliation, of one man's journey to discover what really matters in modern life. Oh my god, that blurb is making me want to cry. That's really sad. This book is going to be really, really, really sad, isn't it? Oh my god, I can't wait to read it. I'm guessing that the main character is going to have to sort of make a decision of like, is it worth living without his cat if it means he gets to live? That is a really like tricky thing to have to decide, isn't it? Like, I don't think it would be worth it for one extra day of life, surely, but I don't know, if it was like your entire life, if you were young as well, like, would it be worth it? So I really like that philosophical question, and oh my god, this book is going to make me fucking sob. I'm already feeling tearful thinking about it. I'm very excited to read this. I feel like I'm going to have to read this pretty soon because it sounds amazing. I especially love that it's got that like twist with the devil as well. Reminds me a little bit of Addie LaRue, and I quite liked that book because it was kind of a historical fiction but with a twist, and I like that this is going to be like a literary fiction but with a twist. Next I have The Cat Who Saved Books by Suzuki Natsukawa. I love the cover of this. This is gorgeous. It's so shiny and like I just love it. It's so lovely, and there's the ginger cat on the front as well. So I feel like this is going to be another book that I really enjoy. I really want to read books about cats, and I also really want to read more books about books and libraries and stuff. I don't know, there's just something about that like subgenre that I'm really intrigued by. So let's read the blurb of this one. Natsuki Books was a tiny second-hand bookshop on the edge of town. Inside, towering shelves reached the ceiling, every one crammed full with wonderful books. Rintaro Natsuki loved this space that his grandfather had created. He spent many happy hours there, reading whatever he liked. It was the perfect refuge for a boy who tended to be something of a recluse. After the death of his grandfather, Rintaro is devastated and alone. It seems he will have to close the shop. Then, a talking tabby cat called Tiger appears and asks Rintaro for help. The cat needs a book lover to join him on a mission. This odd couple will go on 3 magical adventures to save books from people who have imprisoned, mistreated and betrayed them. Finally, there is one last rescue that Rintaro must attempt alone. The Cat Who Saved Books is a heartwarming story about finding courage, caring for others, and the tremendous power of books. So this sounds really cool as well. Sounds a little bit like, what's it called? The Charles Dickens one? The Christmas one. What is it called? Please, brain. My brain's just going The Nightmare Before Christmas, but that's not it, that's not it. Christmas Carol, goodness sake. So it sounds a little bit like a bit of a retelling of the Christmas Carol where they go on like 3 adventures and the cat appears, and it's a bit like Bob Marley. Bob Marley? Was that his name? That wasn't his name, was it? Anyway, this sounds really really interesting, and also like it's going to be a bit sad as well, but I quite like the magical nature of it. Again, obviously you guys know I'm a big fantasy reader, so anything that's got a bit of a magical twist I'm very intrigued by. This is really short though, so to fit in 3 adventures, the writing is not that small either, to fit in 3 adventures into this really short book, like I feel like it's going to be, I don't know how I feel about the pacing of that. So the last one I've got is Cats of the Louvre by Taiyo Matsumoto, and this is a manga. Unfortunately, it does not have a blurb, so I can't read one to find out what it's going to be about and tell you guys, but I'm very intrigued by this because I just saw it in Waterstones one day and I was like, yes, that is the book for me because it's a book about cats. So yeah, I'm really interested to read this. It's quite long, but it's a manga, so it'll obviously be quite a quick read. The artwork on the front is so gorgeous. I love it, and like this is the cat that you can see, and the cat is white and has 1 yellow eye and 1 blue eye, which is so cute. I don't know what this one is about. I'm assuming cats who kind of live in and around the Louvre in France, which is obviously that big museum. I love museums as well. I did a degree in museum studies and I love visiting museums whenever I can, especially when I go to a new place and I haven't been to the museums there before. So I'm very interested to read this and experience the like atmosphere of being in a museum through a story about cats. Flicking through, there are a lot of cats in this book, so that's very interesting, and you can see the cats at the top there on the back, which is so adorable. Very excited to read this, even though I don't particularly know what the plot is going to be. I feel like it might be a little bit of a mystery after flicking through just now and like in the past. I feel like there's something going to be happening with the cats. Something about the vibes of it gives me Aristocats vibes, which is obviously that Disney film. I love that film, by the way, of course I do, it's about cats. So it kind of gives me vibes of that when you like towards the end of the movie when like all the cats in Paris like are there, like when they're doing the singing and all that. It kind of gives me that vibe. I feel like it's going to be a crowd similar to that. I'm pretty sure I just saw an anthropomorphic cat, a cat person with a face. Yep. What? So it may be this then, it's going to be about like cats, but the cats like are a bit more like the cats in the Cats movie. Oh god. I'm very intrigued to see what this is going to be like now that I've seen some of those images in here. The artwork is really, really nice in here as well. When I read a graphic novel or a manga, I really need to gel well with the art style to enjoy it properly. So I don't tend to pick up ones that I don't like the art style of, and this one I really like. It's not quite like a traditional manga style. It looks a lot more Western, even though it is a Japanese manga. I don't know if that's because it's been written for a more Western audience, because I think this is part of the series of manga and books and stuff written for the Louvre. But yeah, I don't know if it's because it's written for a more Western audience or if that's just the author's art style, but it looks really, really interesting. So very different setting as well. Obviously most of the books I've talked about today have a more Asian setting and especially a Japanese setting, but this one is obviously going to be set in France. And I haven't read many books set in France either, so I'm very intrigued by this one. So yeah, that's all the cat books that I'm really interested to read. Let me know if you've read any of these books before and like what you thought of them, because I don't know where to start. Like I'm so intrigued by all of these, they all sound amazing. So that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any cat books, if you can recommend any cat books, and if you want to leave a comment but you don't know what to say, leave a cat emoji for me to let me know you got to the end of the video. If you haven't already and you would like to be, please do consider subscribing. I post a new video every single week. And that's it from me today, guys. Bye!